Now, yes, it's time for something we like to call the world's gone mad. Yes, in this mad and crazy world of ours, it is often the blind who see things more clearly than those with perfect eyesight. Whenever all the nonsense about slavery reparations comes up, I'm reminded of this wonderful observation by Helen Keller. There is no king who has not a slave among his ancestors, and no slave who has not had a king among his. I was reminded again of that great line during all the no kings nonsense that took place last week across America. The absurdity of people protesting against no kings in a constitutional republic that was founded by fighting a war against a king has not been lost on most sensible people, yet still unbelievably some 7 million of King Donald I's serfs and enslaved subjects, anecdotally most of them white, prosperous-looking and middle-aged, took to the streets to protest about this wicked monarch.
I am very anti-Trump. I'm for democracy in America. I don't want kings. I don't want dictatorship. So I'm here to support America.
Some were even convinced that King Trump was trying to stop them protesting, even though, of course, he wasn't.
Trump would say no, by the way. Trump would say no.
If Trump would say no, we wouldn't be having a protest.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Trump would say no. Amongst King Trump's rival court are, of course, all the Hollywood celebrities, including John Cusack, who once appropriately starred in a film called The Grifters, which pretty much sums up the Hollywood elite.
The whole country was founded on no kings. Everyone knows the score, right? The authoritarians divide and conquer, and they create an other, and then they pick on it, and then pick on the person and harass them, jail them, and that's all used as a distraction so they can steal as much as they can, maintain power, right? We all know history, so.
Poor old John should stick to letting other people write his lines for him, equating the Trump regime with the worst excesses of communism, fascism and socialism is idiotic, offensive and quite frankly grotesque. Mind you, please don't suggest to the no kings crowd that it's the left who may have undemocratic tendencies.
Can I point out something? That we say no kings and no authoritarianism, but Kamala Harris, no one voted for her.
Yes, they did. Half the country voted for her, so let's not go there.
No one was voted for her to be the nominee.
Yes, they did.
Isn't that what, like, authoritarian?
You're going down the wrong road right now with me. I wouldn't go any further.
What does that mean?
I'm not going to talk to you anymore. That's what it means.
I just think it's ironic that no one voted for her to be the nominee. They just selected her like a king gets selected, right?
But keep it to yourself, okay? Bye. Have a good day. See ya. Take care.
And ridiculously, even former Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi, a Democrat worthy of being crowned the Red Queen, joined in the stupidity. The hypocrisy of the left is staggering, particularly when you think back to the COVID years, as this young woman points out.
No kings. Put your mask on. No kings. But you're fired for not getting the vaccine. No kings. But we're shutting down the parks and the beaches. No kings. You must force your crying child to wear a mask. So who's really the tyrant?
And this young woman, notice how sensible so many bright young American kids have become in the era of Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, and of course, the late Charlie Kirk. This young woman decided to find out if any of the No Kings protesters had even the faintest idea what they were protesting about.
You're at the No Kings protest today. I was wondering how President Trump has put your freedom in jeopardy.
I wouldn't say my freedom's in jeopardy.
Yeah. So whose freedom's in? Why are you out here at the No Kings protest, I guess? I was wondering, what has President Trump done to put your freedom in danger?
Equally as clueless was, of course, this sad old man, sorry, my mistake, this famous Hollywood celebrity.
Trump does not understand anything about humanity. He has no empathy. I don't know what he is, but he's an alien.
So, as well as a king and as well as a dictator, Trump is now also an alien. My goodness, sounds like a comedy sketch. Actually, someone else who once dreamed of being a king was Robert De Niro himself.
Don't tell anyone yet, but you're looking at the new king of comedy. Why not me? Why not?
Why not? Yes, years ago, De Niro has finally found himself the true métier that he's always after as a stand-up comedian. Have a look.
I'm going to say one thing. F Trump.
Great stuff, Bob. Maybe he could even go off Broadway and have his own backing group for the No Kings Trump Derangement Syndrome Gala Extravaganza. Of course, it was the cartoon Family Guy that originally predicted these sorts of endless, meaningless, woke protest movements.
What do we want?
We don't know.
When do we want it?
Also unclear.
Why do we want it?
Because it was forwarded to us in an email, so it must be true. Yeah!
Brilliant. But speaking of kings or no kings, others were quick to point out that America has indeed had its own king, as this AI-generated deepfake video amusingly explains.
What does Elvis and President Trump have in common?
Well, I heard about those folks holding the No King signs outside. I just want to make it real clear, I never gave myself that title. People started calling me the king of rock and roll, and I appreciate the compliment, but it didn't come from me.
So you don't consider yourself a king?
No, ma'am. There's only one true king, and that's Jesus Christ.
The No Kings riots set to kick off this weekend. No Kings. We like kings, actually, folks. We like one king in particular, quite frankly. The King of Kings, our Lord and Savior. I don't know, maybe you've heard of him. With that being said, God bless, good night, and good luck.
But of course, if Donald Trump were king, he would need to have his own royal advisor to whisper in his ear and warn him about any upstarts or mischief makers in the royal court.
Now they've appointed Kevin Rudd, former Labour MP. I mean, he has said the most horrible things. You were a destructive president, a traitor to the West, and he's now Australia's ambassador in Washington.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Would you take a phone call from him?
He won't be there long if that's the case. I don't know much about him. I heard he was a little bit nasty. I hear he's not the brightest bulb, but I don't know much about him. But if he's at all hostile, he will not be there long.
Not the brightest bulb. And if Donald Trump really were a king, surely we could expect at least the occasional royal decree and public dressing down of his subordinates.
Did an ambassador say something bad about him? Don't tell me. I don't know. Where is he? Is he still working for you?
Yeah.
You said bad?
Before I took this position, Mr. President.
I don't like you either. I don't, and I probably never will. Go ahead.
Ah, yes, the court jester. Still, it could have been worse for poor old Kevin. He could have insulted King George III.
Look at me, I'm not one of your farmers. You must behave, or endeavor to do so. Must! Must? Whose must is this? Your must or my must?
Ah, yes, where would we all be without the madness of monarchs in this crazy old world of ours? Joining us now is Adam B. Coleman, author of The Children We Left Behind and Wrong Speak Publishing founder. Great to see you, Adam. Firstly, I don't know if you noticed in America or not, but our Prime Minister was over in your wonderful nation this week. It was huge news here, obviously in Australia. But how did it play in America, Adam?
Yeah, overall, just looking at the media landscape, there wasn't a whole lot of negative coverage when it came to this, for once. I think most people see this as a relatively good deal that happened between them for the rare earth minerals, especially from an American standpoint. The more we can step away from China and go towards friendlier nations, the better. So I think this is a win for both sides.
Now listen, Adam, Steve Bannon, we all know Steve Bannon from the War Room. He's a former Trump strategist. He said that he thinks that Donald Trump will seek a third term as president. Take a look.
Well, he's going to get a third term. So Trump 28, Trump is going to be president 28, and people just ought to get accommodated with that.
So what about the 22nd Amendment?
There's many different alternatives. At the appropriate time, we'll lay out what the plan is. But there's a plan, and President Trump will be the president in 28.
So, Adam, up until FDR, I think famously had 5 terms, and then they all panicked and went, OK, let's limit it to 2 terms. So I guess the precedent is there to kind of see it reversed. But do you think the American public would be happy with that?
Honestly, I don't think they would be. I know there are many Trump supporters. You know, many of them are sycophantic. You know, I voted for President Trump, but would I want him to be here for a 3rd term? I'm thinking about the long term. 1, I'm thinking about his age. 2, I'm thinking about in my lifetime, there's probably going to be another Democrat who is going to be the president. Do I want them to have the possibility of a 3rd term? So I do think that having term limitations, like with 2 terms, is actually a relatively good thing for our country. Rather than, you know, we have people who are almost ironed in power. So we already see what happens when we have too many terms when it comes to senators and congressmen, congresswomen. So I don't know if this is a good thing, nevertheless possible.
Adam, Trump and Russia. OK, so we've got a frustrated Donald Trump who has slapped sanctions on Russia's 2 biggest oil companies. Here was the president.
They're massive sanctions. It's sanctions on oil. The 2 biggest oil companies, among the biggest in the world, but they're Russian. They do a lot of oil. And hopefully it'll push, hopefully he'll become reasonable, and hopefully Zelensky will be reasonable too. You know, it takes 2 to tango, as they say, and we're going to find out.
And then, Adam, let's have a listen to Putin.
This, of course, is an attempt to put pressure on Russia. But no self-respecting country and no self-respecting people ever decide anything under pressure.
Now, clearly, Adam, Donald Trump is getting pretty annoyed at how long this conflict is dragging out. What's the latest in the 4D chess game that's going on here?
It sounds like Trump wasn't ready for how steadfast Putin was going to be. I don't think he was aware of how much he hates the West. So the idea of allowing the United States or any other Western nation to sanction him into some sort of agreement that he doesn't want, he's going to resist. It's just a matter of how far will he take this? You know, if they sanction him to death, is he just going to do it to the demise of his nation, or will it actually work? So I don't know. You know, President Trump said it'll take 24 hours to come up with a peace deal. He massively overestimated how easy this was going to be. And I think, and this is not necessarily a shot at Trump, I think whoever is in power as president of the United States would have just as much of a difficult time coming up with a peace deal.